At Grandma Rosamund's funeral dinner, my Aunt Maris leaned across the table, smiled like she had been waiting all day, and said, "She left you nothing because you were never important." My cousins, Brielle and Nolan, smirked into their wine glasses. I didn't answer, because 20 minutes later, Grandma's lawyer would play her final video message, and every person at that table would turn pale. Before we continue, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I always love seeing how far this story travels. My name is Aloan Hart, and for most of my life, I was the quiet granddaughter. Not the favorite. Not the successful one. Not the one my family praised at holidays. I was the one who drove Grandma to doctor appointments, fixed her garden gate, sorted her medicine, and sat beside her on quiet Sunday afternoons while everyone else was too busy. Aunt Maris used to call it clinging. She said I only helped Grandma because I wanted something. But the truth was simpler. Grandma was the only person in that family who never made me feel small. The funeral dinner was held at Waverly House, the old family restaurant Grandma loved. Long tables, white candles, black dresses, polished silverware, and people pretending grief while checking the will with their eyes. Aunt Maris sat at the head of the table like she already owned the room. Her daughter Brielle wore dark red lipstick and kept whispering to Nolan, both of them glancing at me like I was the evening entertainment. Then Aunt Maris raised her glass. "To Mother," she said smoothly. "A woman who understood value, loyalty, importance." Her eyes landed on me when she said that last word. I kept my hands folded in my lap. Then she said it louder. "Of course, some people confuse errands with love. But Rosamund was sharp until the end. She knew who mattered." Brielle laughed softly. Nolan muttered, "This is awkward." Aunt Maris tilted her head at me. "Don't look so wounded, Aloan. She left you nothing because you were never important." The table went quiet. My throat tightened, but I still didn't speak. That was when the private dining room door opened. A tall man in a charcoal suit stepped inside, carrying a leather folder and a small laptop. "Good evening," he said. "I'm Cedric Vale, Mrs. Rosamund Hart's attorney." Aunt Maris smiled instantly. "Finally, let's settle this." Cedric looked around the table calmly. "Before the will is discussed," he said, "Rosamund requested that I play her final recorded message." Aunt Maris frowned. "Recorded message?" Cedric opened the laptop. Grandma's face appeared on the screen, weak, tired, but smiling. Then she looked into the camera and said, "If you are watching this, then Maris has probably already tried to rewrite the truth." Aunt Maris froze. Grandma continued, "So, let me be very clear. I trusted only one person with the family account." Every head turned toward me, and Aunt Maris's face lost all color. For the first time that night, Aunt Maris had no smile left. Grandma Rosamund's face remained on the laptop screen, her voice soft but steady. "The family account was never meant to be a prize," Grandma said. "It was built by your grandfather and me to protect this family, not to feed greed." Brielle shifted in her chair. Nolan stopped smirking. Aunt Maris forced a laugh. "This is ridiculous. Mother was ill. She was confused." Cedric Vale didn't even look at her. He pressed play again. Grandma continued, "Maris, I know what you told everyone. I know you said Aloan visited me because she wanted money. But she was the only one who came when there was nothing to gain." My eyes burned, but I kept still. I remembered those nights. Grandma asleep in her chair with the television low. Me washing dishes in her kitchen. Me reading bank letters because her hands shook too much to hold them. Me noticing strange withdrawals. Me asking questions no one wanted asked. Grandma looked straight into the camera. Aloan found the missing transfers. The room went silent in a different way now. Not awkward. Afraid. Aunt Maris's fingers tightened around her glass. "Missing transfers?" Cedric opened his leather folder and placed several printed documents on the table. "Mrs. Hart asked me to review the family account 6 months before her passing," he said. She became concerned after Aloan noticed repeated payments marked as property maintenance. Nolan frowned. "So?" Cedric turned one page. The properties listed had been sold 4 years ago. Brielle's face changed instantly. Aunt Maris whispered, "Careful, Mr. Vale." Cedric's voice stayed calm. The payments continued to a private company called Arden Crest Consulting. I looked at Aunt Maris. She looked away. Grandma's voice filled the room again. "Maris, you treated my funeral like a victory dinner. But you forgot something. I was old, not blind." Brielle stood halfway from her chair. "Mom," Aunt Maris snapped, "sit down." But the damage had started. Cedric placed one final document in front of me. "Rosamund appointed Aloan as the sole trustee of the family account 2 months ago," he said. "Effective immediately." My aunt stared at him like he had slapped her. "That account belongs to the family," she hissed. Cedric nodded.
Exactly.
"Which is why your access was removed this morning." Aunt Maris went completely still. Then Grandma said the sentence that destroyed her. "And if Maris argues, Cedric has my permission to show the police everything." Aunt Maris pushed her chair back so hard it scraped against the floor. "You can't do this," she said, but her voice was shaking now. Cedric Vale closed the folder with one quiet snap. "I'm not doing anything, Mrs. Arden. Your mother did." That name hit the table like a stone. Arden. Brielle looked from Cedric to her mother. "Wait, Arden Crest Consulting." Nolan's mouth fell open. "Mom, that's your company?" Aunt Maris didn't answer. She didn't have to. Grandma's video kept playing. Brielle. "Nolan, I know your mother told you Aloan was jealous of you. I know she told you Aloan wanted to steal what was yours. But ask yourselves one thing. Who was stealing before I was even gone?" Brielle slowly sat back down. For once, she wasn't smirking. Cedric turned the laptop slightly toward Aunt Maris. "Rosamund did not want a public scandal tonight," he said. "She gave you one chance. Return every dollar taken from the family account within 10 business days, or the evidence goes to the police and the probate court." Aunt Maris's face twisted. "And she gets everything?" "No," Cedric said. "Aloan controls the account. She does not own it personally. The money is protected for medical care, education, property taxes, and approved family emergencies." Then he looked at me. "Rosamund also left Aloan Waverly House." The room stopped breathing. Aunt Maris whispered, "The restaurant." Cedric nodded. "The building, the land, and all business rights." My chest tightened. Grandma had known. She knew how many afternoons I had spent helping her there, listening to stories about Grandpa, wiping old tables, learning recipes she said were too good for greedy hands. Aunt Maris suddenly turned to me. "Aloan," she said, softer now. Fake soft. "We're family. You wouldn't really ruin me." I finally stood. The whole table watched me. "For years," I said, "you told everyone I was nothing. Tonight, you said Grandma left me nothing because I was never important." I looked at the frozen faces of my cousins, then back at her. Grandma didn't leave me revenge. She left me responsibility. But don't confuse that with weakness. Aunt Maris swallowed. I picked up the document Cedric had placed in front of me. "You have 10 business days." Her eyes filled with panic. "And Maris," I added, using her name for the first time in my life, "Waverly House is closed to you until every dollar is returned." Brielle covered her mouth. Nolan stared at the table. Aunt Maris looked around, waiting for someone to defend her. No one did. Then Grandma's final words played from the laptop. "Aloan, my dear, you are never the loudest person in this family. That is why I trusted you. Quiet people hear everything." The video ended. No one moved. And for the first time in my life, I didn't leave the family table feeling small. I left with Grandma's keys in my hand, while Aunt Maris sat there, pale, silent, and finally powerless.